Mazel's a P2, Velocity P3. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Co-Racing League. This is round 13 here in Spielberg, Red Bull Ring at the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Jim Morris. Nice to have you all back after being in Singapore, where it turned out to be a very interesting race, with McLaren's coming out on top for the second week in a row. Can they keep it up with Fandango and MKP back in the car then? So let's see how they get along, if they can take their third win of the season. And we've got some cars there coming out on the circuit, as it turned out to be a very interesting late race last week, as we saw MKP sorry, we saw Quick Killer, who started in last place after he couldn't get qualifying hooked up. I think he validated his last run, and he ended up starting in last place. Then during the race he had some mighty race pace, actually made up 10 places at the start of the race, and ever since then the safety car came out the perfect time for him. He was able to go with the soft compound tyres, capitalise on them, while the others were on the softs and mediums too. He was in second place. They took the lead of the race off Mazel's. Mazel scored a podium as well last race as well, so he did a fantastic job as he managed to claim his way on the podium once again. I think it was his third podium of the season. But in the championship standings then, we can see Mazel's in P2 with 167 points. He's currently 78 points behind, so he's got a long way to go if he wants to have any chance of closing in on the race leader there, which is Little One, who didn't win the last time at the Singapore Grand Prix. It was going to be a very close fight between George Hargreaves and Little One, but I dare say George Hargreaves had little patience there, as he desperately... Oh, Dragon of Speed there, lost the car coming out of turn number 1. Did he take too much curb on the entry? I wonder. Unfortunately for him, that lap time is ruined before it got started then, and thankfully that Ronan has joined to make it 20 out of 20, but Dragon of Speed's first sector will not be... well, we're not. Oh, there's a Williams who's gone for a spin, and I believe that's his out lap as well, because Dragon of Speed was the first man to go on a flying lap. So Nacho there, just coming out of pit lane, spun the car at turn number 3, and already, well, hasn't ruined the tyres. Hopefully, maybe it's just a little spin, but it keeps the car going and out of the walls. And Randy Human then is back, and I think we've got another spinner down there too at turn number 3. Is that Maze? No, it's the Alpine that looks like he's gone for a spin, and. Yeah, looks like the Alpine then has ruined his lap time. This is my favourite track because it looks like a whale, says Random Human. Cole Paradox, Colin R. Mason, Craigo, good evening to you all. As Craigo sets the fastest lap there, Dragon of Speed, his teammate, will not set a representative lap time after he made that mistake coming out of turn number 1 then, so it looks like he's going to have to go for it again, as Jay Hart now replaces Craigo then by a 10th ahead of the Aston Martin driver. Then the Red Bull puts his car on the front row, and let's see if it can remain there for the session. We're going to go on board with Fandango as King Panda puts his Mercedes into P3 ahead of Dragon of Speed in the 6s as well, with Fandango making his way towards that middle sector. KXI in the AlphaTauri has gone P2 with a 5.7 then, only a few hundreds off by the way of Jay Hart now, as there's 20 cars registered on the board now with a late appearance from Dat Roland. That's why the timing screens are a bit glitched. And let's see what Fandango could do in the McLaren then. Makes his way towards the line. It's going to be P5 for him with a 6.0, as George Hargreaves then takes pole position like he did. It's provisional pole because we've still got lots of time in this session left to see who could take it away. And I'm stuck in the timing balls there. Yep, there we go then. So George Hargreaves with a 5.1, 5/10 deficit towards second place then. So he's got a huge margin like he did in Singapore, as he took pole position away by 3/10 last time out, if I'm correct about that one. Little One in the Alfa Romeo 9/10 away, but you never know what programs these guys are running in Tier 3, because it all differs from Tier 1 to Tier 3, as you can see in Tier 1 they go for 3 runs straight, as in Tier 3 or Tier 4 or any other tiers. I think King Panda's run out of fuel there, so he's back in the pit lane, and luckily for him the pit lane wasn't a long way to go. So you never know what pace others might have after they're going for like 2 or 3 laps on the same set of soft compound tyres, fueling the car up and maybe not setting their flying laps immediately, just getting the bank on the board, just exploring the track just a little bit to get used to it and get the feeling of it too. And that's exactly what they're doing. The guys who's going for more than one well, the more than one run on the same set of soft compound tyres. Obviously not pushing too hard because he pushed too hard. Maybe end up in a spin and hit the wall, and therefore it all ruins. All just doesn't go to plan for you because your program will end right there, as you didn't get that flying lap in as you would have wanted right at the end, whereas you're exploring on your lap times, and therefore if you crash, then that's it for you. Your long runs are over. And Mazel's there in P14, the man who got a podium last time out, which boosted him to second place in the championship, as Ross in the first sector there gets a nice exit coming out of turn number 3. Then the car just rotated very nicely there, very smooth as well, as he makes his way down into the downhill braking zone at turn number 4, then braking at the 100-metre board there, scrubbing off all the speed on the entry. Want to kiss the apex on the entry there, just to run out a bit too wide, as he makes his way now back towards the right hand side, going into turn number 6 here. Into 5th gear he goes, carrying the minimum speed, just playing with the throttle just a bit there, and it's a 45.8 in the middle sector for Ross. I think Fandango was a couple of tenths quicker in that middle sector there where Ross has now exited, so let's see where he is in comparison to Fandango. Will it be the 6s? Bearing in mind though, he's run out of fuel and DRS for good measure though, so this is more than one lap on these same set of soft compound tyres for Ross as he makes his way towards the line. It's a 5.9 there, so just gets within the 5.9 there. And KXI ahead of him, P6 there, doing more than one run on the same set of softs. So it's very interesting to see how much it varies in this field there, how much tactics are going on around here, because obviously you can see people doing more than one lap on the same set, doing about 3 or 4 runs on the same set. You can see people doing for one shot on the one set of soft compound tyres, but Dragula Speed is out there, who puts his Aston Martin into second place then, so it doesn't look like that phase mistake, oh, I can't even speak properly today, sorry about that. It hasn't phased him whatsoever in that first corner there. Looks like he's managed to get some confidence still, despite that error on your first lap, as he continues then on his way, on his out lap, to see if he can improve his second position to first. But he's going to find 4 more tenths to do that as Leo enters turn number 1 then. I think he just crossed the line to complete a lap time, which was a 6.2 there in the Alpine, so he'll be looking to get towards the 5s if he could do so, along with his teammate Ross in P7 then, to join him on the 4th row of the grid. Jay Hartnell there doing multiple runs in P4 there. 4 laps he's done on those set of soft compound tyres, then just getting a feel for the track, knowing where the limits are, knowing where to brake, when to get on the throttle, when to turn in, how much speed he can carry through the corners, all ready for that next set of soft compound tyres as well. Also, this strategy really helps you later on in this race as well, because a chance for a safety car is quite high around here, easy to go off, and don't be surprised if you see any safety cars making an appearance out here at the Red Bull Ring. However, got 4 drivers on set of lap time, which is Ferguson in the Red Bull. He's currently retired, so I didn't really see what happened there. MKP is currently last, about to cross the line to set, and 7.9, so not a lot of time he was hoping for in that McLaren. We've got Dat Rowland in P19, a Veloci A-up, who makes a return after a race ban. So his last race was at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but he got a race ban after a crash on the track, which was deliberate in the steward's eyes. So here's Dragula Speed, 1 tenth up in the middle sector, but unfortunately for him, he has invalidated the lap time then. So let's see then, you can see him slowing down to let other cars through, because it is very difficult. It's a short track around here, so you will find traffic wherever you go around this short track. A 65-second lap it seems, as George Hargreaves then is out there somewhere on the track. I think Dragula Speed let him go, as Dat Rowland puts his Ferrari into P2. George Hargreaves crosses the line to start another lap time. Fandango's crashed at the exit of turn number 8, and unfortunately for him, his qualifying session has ended and his car is planted in the middle of the road as well, so that would have been a safety car during a race situation. But here's Little One then, he's encountered a bit of traffic. Here's Little One, hopefully they get out of the way. The Haas won't back off now because he's going to go for a lap time in that Haas. But what's Little One got in his locker? It's a 5.5, and he puts the Alpha into P4 then. So better lap time there from Little One. Dragula Speed is a few hundreds up in that first sector. His Aston Martin teammate Craigo is out there in the third sector, but Dragula Speed almost lost it. And you can see he's quite low on the ERS as well. Has he gone for consecutive runs? Because he did invalidate his last lap, so tyres here might be sliding around due to overheating, and therefore he's still improving, by the way, in the middle sector. So despite that little error, there's plenty of times for Dragula Speed to find there on his final flying lap. But gotta be careful not to bin the car. Oh, Dragula Speed there. It was a sharp turn. He spins as well. And luckily he hasn't hit the wall. Veloci Ayub has retired. He will start in last place then. So is that a qualifying ban, I wonder? George Hargreaves extends his advantage at the front with a 5.000 dead on as well. And Nacho into P2. What a performance that is from the Dutchman, who has been struggling recently as well with a few spins now and there, but looks like he's found some pace in that Williams to put it into P2. So what a good lap time that is from Nacho there. Got to give credit where it's due. Little one there, that was a cheeky manoeuvre. Did speed in the pit lane as well to get past. He wasn't waiting around, was Little One. I wouldn't wait around either, but yeah, getting on the grass there. And here comes Leon coming towards that final corner. Not a representative lap time, as you can see at the top of your timing board there with a 54.6.2 as it changed dramatically. Welcome Mays in P17 there in the Williams then, so he replaces Polish Man, I think, who's had a tough couple of races as Polish Man. He's got some good pace, but unfortunately, like me, just can't seem to get a rhythm in the car, and the car's just so easy to lose. I don't fault him there, but hopefully he can come back in a few races because he's got the pace, but the consistency as well just needs to improve on that. And I hope to see him up there because we've seen a good few battles from him, the Polish Man, when he's been in the top 5, so I really hope he does make an appearance once again as Mays will take his place. KXI in the first sector. Let's see what he's got. 4 tenths up already in that first sector as he makes his way down to turn number 3. He went a bit deep in there, but still gets on the throttle nevertheless. How much time did that lose, I wonder, in that first sector? Iguana, how's your day been? You can't remember my name, can you? My day's been great, thank you very much. And my name is Indigo, or Jamie Morris, if you want to call me that. Jamie or Indigo. KXI coming out of turn number 4 right now, into turn 5, which is flat out, easy flat out. Turn number 6 there, let's see how he takes this up into 6th gear immediately. Some people take it through 5th gear using the exit curb. 4 tenths up in that middle sector is KXI. Using all the curb of the exit of this corner here as we make our way now into the final 2 corners. I've never been called Iguana, that's an interesting name from me. Most people call me Spindigo. As now we make our way towards the final corner in 5th gear, bounces over the curbs. Let's see what KXI has got. He crosses the line now. It's a 5.2 from KXI, and he puts that AlphaTauri on the front row along with George Hargreaves there. What a lap time there from the AlphaTauri. He'll be happy with that one. But with 5 minutes and 45 seconds left to go on the clock, let's see if anybody out there can beat that. The majority of the drivers are in the pit lane and then just waiting for the final few moments of qualifying. He could do more than 4 runs on this track due to the track being so short with a 65 second lap, sorry. Yeah, so you can do more than 4 runs. Obviously I meant on the different set of soft compound tyres. It all depends what strategy you go for, because if I remember in the last few games where people chose the softer strategy, you get 4 sets of softs, 1 set of mediums and 1 set of hards. You can do 4 runs depending if you want to validate your few laps or not. If you choose the balanced strategy, you get 3 sets of soft, 2 sets of meds and 1 set of hard compound tyres. And if you choose the harder strategy, I think it's 2 sets of soft, 2 sets of meds and 2 sets of hards. Obviously no one's going to go for the harder strategy in this game, it's all the medium strategy. The balanced strategy where you want those 2 sets of mediums just in case a late safety car or safety car in the middle of the race changes your strategy. You could go from hards to mediums depending where you are on the circuit. We've seen a few variables in that one before as well with the change of strategies. Normally it's a one stop, but obviously safety cars can interrupt your race as well, and it all depends where you are on the track, what tyre strategy you want as well, because that can determine whether it will ruin your race or not, or gain a massive advantage. You can't obviously predict when a safety car comes out, so it just all depends. Whoever out there decides to crash and cause that safety car where it can lead to a massive advantage or disadvantage. But that Ronan's gone purple in the middle sector then, but only a few hundreds up, so that could take away P3 depending if he can find more time in this last sector. With 4 minutes left to go on the clock, we got him coming around the final corner now, so let's see what lap time he can set in the Ferrari. Let's see what lap time it is. It's a 5.2 and he's about a few hundreds away from KXI as well, so he did find more time in that last sector, did that Roland. And if I remember last race, that Ronan didn't really have a great race, did he? And I'm glad he's up there in P3 as well, showing his true potential, so hopefully he can keep it up there. But we've still got majority of people in the pit lane. We're just waiting the calm before the storm happens. Mazel's here in P18, second place man in the championship. Doesn't look like he's enjoying the track of Austria. And it's a 10th place for him. He puts himself in 10th place with a 5.8, but you can see Jay Hartnell has got plenty to offer with loads of fuel in the tank as well on his first flying laps. So keep an eye on him, he could be interesting, because he always does this on his qualifying runs where he does multiple lap times. Then at the end, puts in a really good lap time. Here comes Craigo coming out of turn number 4, then just took a moment to cough there, that's why I paused, muted my mic. Now coming through turn number 6 here, with Craigo in the Aston Martin. Let's see what his medal sector is, and it's going to be 700s down, unfortunately for him, 7,000s down actually. And let's see if he can find that time back in this medal sector. Let's see if he's on a brand new set of softs as well. Yes, he is. So a lot of drivers there, as you predict, on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. Craigo, they didn't get the best line coming out the penultimate corner. Got a bit screwy on the exit, so that might cost him a little bit of time too, as he makes his way towards the line. 2/10 down, unfortunately for him, as he takes the grass in frustration. And here comes the Williams then. When we came back to Austria in 2014, I think we took an 11-year hiatus. I think the last race was 2003 and 4, correct me if I'm wrong please. And we came back in 2014 as Mays has retired then, he's currently in P18. And Ferguson and Veloci Ayob have not set a lap time. I can't wait to see what Veloci Ayob Jr. does in P20, because I know he'll be making his way through the field in revenge. But yeah, 2014, oh that was close between the Haas and the Williams there. 2014 is when we came back to the circuit, and I believe both Williams took pole position. I think Massa took pole ahead of Valtteri Bottas, and 3/10 up is Nacho. So keep an eye on Nacho then. Can he take pole position away from George Hargreaves? Going to keep it nice and hooked up. Can't afford to validate this lap time. All this good hard work can't be afforded to be thrown down the drain due to a slight invalidation by going out wide. Keeps it in with the track limits there as he makes his way now towards the line. It's going to be pole! It's a 4.9 for the Dutchman there. He takes pole position away from George Hargreaves, who's currently on there, out there on his out lap. Here comes KXI, but not on a flying lap it seems. Looks like he's going to go for his final flying lap. Dragon of speed makes his way towards the final corner. It's a 5.4, 1/10 up on his flying lap, and I dare say that is it, unless he wants to go for consecutive lap times, which is not ideal. Already sliding and coming out of turn number 1 there. You don't want to go for consecutive lap times because tyres will slide around as they will overheat, and you'll be in danger territory there. And let's keep an eye who's closest to the line. George, as he crosses the line now to complete his to start his final flying lap. Then that Roland has retired, so he will not go out there to start his final flying lap. He best hope Little One or behind him doesn't improve their lap times. With 35 seconds left to go on the clock, George Hargreaves, what is he? 100ths up in the first sector there, as Little One puts his Alfa Romeo into P3 then. So George Hargreaves does out-qualify Little One, and he'll be looking for a race win after 2 previous attempts back in the night races. Maybe in daytime we'll have some glory in the spotlight here as we make our way down into turn number 4 then. Gets a decent exit, uses all the curb on the entry, and let's see if it pays dividends for him later on in this lap. Coming into turn number 6 now, carrying it through 5th gear. Minimum speed up as we make our way now towards the end of the middle sector. 1/10 up in this middle sector there from George Hargreaves. Can he take pole away? This will take pole away, but he could keep it nice and clean now in his final 2 corners as we make our way into the penultimate corner. In 6th gear we go. Looks a bit stiff on entry. Coming towards the final corner now in 4th gear. Bounce over the curbs. Is it going to be pole position for George Hargreaves? And it is with a 4.8. He takes pole away from Nacho by a 10th as well. So what a performance there from George Hargreaves. Is anybody out there to try and stop him? And I don't think so. I think there's qualifying done and dusted. What's Ross doing down in P9? He's finished his lap time. Harry Palmer is in the pit lane. And I think that is it for all the drivers then. So Little One there in the pit lane too. KXI, he has invalidated his lap time, unfortunately for him. So George Hargreaves on pole position for the 2nd time in a row, and Nacho there in P2. Got to give credit where it's due for Nacho there, because he has been struggling in the past few races with a few spins. Has he got the race pace to match it as well? Hopefully he has, because it'd be nice to see him up there. I know I took the mick out of him, which is friendly banter between me and Nacho in the last few races, but it'll be very nice to see him get a good result here tonight in Austria. And where is he in the championship? Let's have a look. Oh, he's down at P18 in the championship, so hopefully he can catapult up the order, as he's quite close to his contenders in the championship, not separated by much as well. So let's see what Nacho can do here tonight. Looks like he's rejuvenated himself. Little One's left the session. Hopefully he has a race quit already. No, I'm kidding, Little One. But hopefully he joins back. Maybe some internet connection issues here. But our last week's race winner will not make an appearance after, I think he's busy, is Quick Colour. and Krieger, who snatched the podium away from Little One in P3. He is here. Thankfully, Little One has joined back. But now we're going to head into the race. I will take a short break. I'll see you all momentarily. And congrats to George. Can he keep it up for the race? His third attempt. Bahrain and Singapore, they both made contact. George this time was to blame in Singapore, I dare say. Sorry, George. And back in Bahrain, it looked like it was Little One's fault due to the stewards' decisions. But for the third time of asking, can he do it? So I thought I saw a car coming out of the pit lane there, so is it a pit lane start for somebody? Obviously we don't have that in the game, but yeah, no car at the pit exit there, so just a little bit of a glitch. Hopefully we're all settled in. And that Roland has gone for an optimistic strategy in P5 on the soft compound tyres. We've got Little One then, switching it up. Switching up the tempo there. He's going to go for the medium compound tyre then, so get the most grip. Well, that grip goes towards that Roland on the softs, but yeah, one step forward in the hards. He's hoping for a good start. Is he in the session though? No, he's not. Little One is not in the session, is he? That looks like his car. That looks like his car's driving the car. I meant his AI driving the car. So hopefully Little One can get in. Maybe his AI chose the strategy because he always goes for the hard compound tyres. So I'm just wondering there if the game chose it for him. And he might be compromised before the race even starts because he always likes to go for the harder compound tyres. So let's see then if it pays dividends for him later on in the race. Obviously if the early safety car comes out like lap 11 or 12, that's when he can go for a pit stop, get off those mediums and put on the hards. But he should have the best grip off the line if he does join back. Can I send him an invite? The race is about to start. I'll try and send a quick one. Oh. 103 friends online out of 366. Jesus, that's how many people I've got on this. It'll take a while if I could try and get him in this session. I don't think I can. Hopefully he's got a spare invite, because I don't want him to drop down the order once the race starts. And keep an eye on Veloci Aob Jr. down in P20. What can he do from the back of the field then? On the hard compound tyres, going for that long stint. A few others around, Little Ones going on the mediums, which is JR Mason, who makes a second appearance here for tonight. Mays in P18 on the mediums, Craigo P10, and Panda in P8 on the medium compound tyres. Hopefully Little One, I don't know mate, I have no idea if it's on crossplay. A few drivers getting disqualified as they probably jumped the box a little bit there, just trying to get the extra bit of tyre temperature and a little bit of extra meters off the line. There are the lights then, 4, 5 lights, and let's see who gets away well. We are underway for the Austrian Grand Prix. It looks like George Hargreaves gets a decent start. Nacho under pressure from Little One's AI as the AlphaTauri gets out of shape as we make our way down into turn number 1 here. Let's see then what happens as Little One is back in the session. He almost lost traction coming out turn number 1 there. He's up into second place ahead of Nacho there as we've got a few behind. Jockey position, we've got KXI putting pressure then on the Williams. Let's see what happens down into turn number 3. We go heavy braking zone. There's a Ferrari going wide. That road is up into P3 from P5. Start on the soft compound tyres. A few more drivers further behind. Jockey for position. Nacho there. Can he reclaim P3? As the Ferrari goes all the way to the inside, it's going to be quite difficult. 2 steps softer tyres is that Roland. So I dare say that'll be very difficult to try and reclaim that position. But we've got J Hart now going side by side with KXI as we can make our way now into turn number 6 we go. And let's go on board with Dragon on Speed to see what happens out of this battle. KXI remains in P5. He stays ahead of the Red Bull driver there. But that Roland has spun coming out of turn number 10 there. And he's going to drop all the way down the field. That's turn number 8, sorry. He's down in P19 then. So his strategy is already ruined by a spin. Oh, Dragon on Speed has lost it. He's lost it where we lost it in qualifying. And he drops all the way down the field. And that is Craigo, sorry, who's dropped it. So that's a media runner who unfortunately has dropped it at the final corner there. And it's so easy to do that, especially on heavy fuel as well and cold tyres at the start of the Grand Prix. Such an easy thing to do there. And unfortunately he drops into P18. JR Mason looks like he had a problem too. He started, well, he's quite further behind where he would have started as well. And Dragon Speed there under pressure from Ross, but DRS activates on lap 3. 1 lap after this when we should see the DRS activate, and we'll see a massive DRS train forming as MKP is in a battle with Harry Palmer and Veloci Aob as well. Here comes the McLaren around the outside, but make contact there. There's a Ferrari in the background who also made contact with the Red Bull. He's out of shape. He's down his P16 as Veloci Aob then, so I think he tried to go for the overtake, got the door slammed in his face, and therefore thankfully he didn't spin, but might have a bit of damage sustained to that front wing. As you can see, they're all struggling with understeer as Gordon Lefevre then is putting pressure on Ferguson for P13 in his early stages of this race. Trying to survive the first few laps on heavy fuel and cold tyres is not such an easy task to do with high pressure around you as well. But looks like MKP then is under massive pressure from Harry Palmer as DRS then is activated. Little One 6/10 behind George. You expect him to be faster at this stage of the Grand Prix. They are so close in turn number 1. Oh, there's a Haas in the... Oh, he spun and hit the wall. And he's lost his front wing too for good measure. And that's his race to win. Unfortunately, hopefully a safety car will come out for him. Gaultier Lefevre there dropping it coming out of turn number 1. Harry Palmer still in hot pursuit with Ferguson. Well, Ferguson's under pressure now, but I think he's just got past those two because he was behind the two. And now he's moved himself up to 11th place ahead of Harry Palmer and MKP. So a lot going down the field there. A lot of fights. Oh, MKP outbraked himself, had to take avoiding action. And he loses a place there to Veloci Aob, who has made 7 places up from the start of the race. So Dragon on Speed, what's happened to him? Oh, he's made contact with the Alpine. And Ross there, has he lost his wing? I think so. Maybe Dragon of Speed spun and Ross at the back of him. That's what may have happened there, and unfortunately got collected up in that incident. Maybe an innocent victim in that one. Nothing you could do if your car spins in front of you and you're in the middle of the road. Been in that position myself. Maybe that's the case, you never know. But anyway, lap 4 out of 36. We had a lot of drama going on in the first few laps of this race. Nacho, unfortunately for him, is not able to keep the pace between Little One and George Hargreaves then. So these two are left alone once again to fight it out. Mazzles was there in the fight too as Craigo has overtaken Mays, who's spun coming out of turn number 1 there. You can see the Williams stationary at the exit of turn number 1 on your right hand side of the screen. The little dotted Williams spinning unfortunately, and I wonder if he's lost his wing because I'm trying to keep an eye out on all the battles. Veloci Aob is now up into 10th place, gained 10 places at the start as well, so good progress there from a junior in P10, and Craigo's right behind Fandango looking to make up the places he lost at the start of the race. And he's back up into P10 now, so despite that spin, he's already up into P10. And that was a big spin as well, coming out of the penultimate corner at the exit, or almost into the pit lane. Maybe the car resets track for himself. I don't think that will be a penalty. But Dragon of Speed, oh, he's gone for another spin. How's Dragon? And looks like he's struggling then with the balance of the car in the race. Just not able to find the grip he needs to race around this track. Short track, only about 10 or 11 corners, I'm not quite sure, but one too many for Dragon on Speed. And Veloci Aob Jr. then is under pressure for Ferguson, but KXI is about to put a move on Nacho for P3. There's so many battles I want to keep an eye on too, especially the top two as well, because that can get heated up very quickly. But Veloci Aob is switching places with Ferguson. Further behind, he's got the track. Did he outbrake himself? And unfortunately for him, has to stay behind the Red Bull once again as Panda moves himself up into P6 ahead of Mazzles then, so the Mercedes gets ahead. But further on, we've got Jay Hartnell and KXI almost going wheel to wheel, but KXI has the race in line. I don't think Jay Hartnell wanted to fight it around the outside, knowing that he'll lose him a lot of time, which he doesn't want to do. But he's on the medium compound tyres then, so he wants to make progress up as quickly as he can before those mediums start to fade away. We should be around lap 13, lap 14 when the mediums should start dropping away, or the peak performance of those tyres will be gone anyway. And I thought Little One would try and overtake George Hargreaves early stages of this race, but he's sticking behind him for the time being. He's got a lot of ERS at his disposal, so is George. Got a healthy amount of ERS then, but Little One then fancies taking the lead of the race. But will he brake early because of that DRS? No, he doesn't. So he gives DRS towards George, and now they're going wheel to wheel then out of turn number 3. But George has DRS then. Is he fighting back into turn number 4? Yes, he is. That has the outside line because there was no room on the inside. And George Hargreaves takes the lead once again then on lap 6. It's just a big problem, even if you're on the medium compound tyres. It's just a big issue that you just can't pull away. I'm glad you noticed that, random human. With the sniffles once again. Veloci Aob is side by side with Ferguson. He moves himself up into P9. He can't dispatch Ferguson as he would have wanted, as he moves himself up into P9, but can't pull away from the Red Bull then, as he's constantly under pressure from him. But Little One then, I want to talk about the DRS train around here, because even if you're on the medium compound tyres, you've got 3 DRS zones which keeps you in contact with your rival ahead of you, and there's no way of trying to get ahead. So you can Little One there just trying everything he can to try and get past George Hargreaves. This time he stays behind him and he wants the DRS coming out of turn number 3 into turn number 4. Further behind we've got KXI who overtakes Nacho, but Nacho himself will get DRS, so can he get a better exit than KXI to move himself back up into P3 at turn number 4. The Aston Martin's gone for a spin. Craigo up into P11 and Little One decides to stay behind for the time being. What about Nacho in P4? He stays behind KXI for the time being. Yeah, and he remains in P3. Does the Alpha Tower. Got a bit of a bad exit coming out of that one. Went a bit too wide, but nevertheless, he stays in P3 for the time being. But it's just about the DRS train then. He just can't pull away. Even if you have pure pace, you've got 3 DRS zones just keeping you in close contact with your rivals there. So it's quite a big task to pull away. And there's no way you could do it. Unless the guy behind you makes a mistake, of course, or ahead of you. But yeah. Not the start he would have wanted with Little One, still on the medium compound tyres, right behind George Hargreaves on the hards. This is good for George Hargreaves. Being on the hard compound tyres, keeping the medium behind. But here we go then once again, here comes Little One alongside the Mercedes, but will he be early in the brakes due to the DRS? No, he doesn't. For the second time in a row, George Hargreaves sneaks up the inside with the helping hand of DRS. Now he's got ERS. But it looks like Little One there got a massive slingshot exit out there with the help of the ERS. The outside line with better traction was able to pull away from George. So George not able to fight back under braking as Craigo and MKP getting so close on the exit of turn number 3 there. As Craigo then moves his Aston Martin help with the help of DRS as well to keep himself ahead of MKP. And now what the Ferrari of Dak Rowland will do, unfortunately spun early on in this Grand Prix, had the qualifying pace, but now he's looking for a comeback race. He's got the soft compound tyres still attached to that Ferrari then, so I wonder how long those softs can go for, because those hard runners should be able to pull away just a little bit now due to the softs degrading just a little bit there. But Mazzles is still keeping King Panda under pressure. King Panda is just looking to try and get in the DRS. He's 1.2 seconds behind, so if he could join that DRS train, he'll be in a fight with podium as he will drag Mazzles along as well. The 2 drivers ahead of Mazzles are on the medium compound tyres as well. Not paying dividends for Jay Hart now. He's still stuck behind Nacho, but looks like he's about to make a move on the Williams just ahead of him. No, he stays behind the time being. But can he get a decent exit coming out of turn number 3 to try and launch himself into P4 at turn number 4 there? No, he's too far behind as well, even with DRS not able to close in, as Dat Roland has split both McLarens. He's moved himself up into P13, so those soft compound tyres are still helping him for the time being. I thought they would have dropped off by now, but still making those soft compound tyres work, and these guys all in a battle with themselves for P11, with Craig being the leader of that train, with Ferguson just ahead with 1.6 seconds in favour to him. But George Hargreaves, though, still in close range of Little One. Little One, unfortunately for him, is not able to pull away from George despite being on the medium compound tyre then. And that'll be a headache for him throughout the remainder of the race, because once he goes onto the hards, George Hargreaves will have the benefits of the mediums attached to his car later on in the race. As there's yellow flags, I think that Ronan's gone for a spin once again, and George Hargreaves right behind Little One then. So let's see if he plays the same tactics as Little One did further on. He'll go late. They're both going early in the brakes, and George Hargreaves will take P1 away if Little One can get a decent exit. So a bit sluggish on traction there coming out of turn number 3. Didn't get the launch he would have wanted coming out of that corner, and he remains in P2 for the time being then. So the longer George can do this against Little One, the better for him, because it'll pay dividends for us later in the strategy once he goes on the mediums. DRS is when flap opens and car goes whoosh. Yeah, that's what the DRS basically does, especially if you're in a Red Bull in real life. The DRS is quite powerful around here, well, around any track, it must be said. But we're going to Baku this weekend, so I expect that Red Bull to be very quick down that straight. DRS, obviously first introduced back in 2011, wasn't quite effective. It was definitely a tool that definitely helped just a little bit, but Veloci Ayo, unfortunately, he's gone for a spin. He was up into P8, gained 12 places, now down into P12, and Fandango has taken him on for P11. So unfortunately, Veloci Ayo, after all that good hard work he's done, is down into P12 then. So he's going to make that hard work all again, as once again we go on board with Little One and George Hargreaves. And Little One there, around the outside he goes. This time he has DRS. Can he get a better exit than George Hargreaves? Yes, he can. And he moves himself back into P1 then. So these two will be constantly switching positions as the race goes on, with the helping hand of the DRS, of course. I'm surprised that Nacho and KXI and Jay Hartnell can't get involved as well. Maybe it's the power of the DRS just keeping these two apart from those guys behind. KXI get a bit detached from there, but nevertheless he's not under pressure from Jay Hartnell, who's on the medium compound tyres. So I wonder if the crossover started to hop towards. Oh, someone's gone for a spin. Little One, he's gone for a spin coming out of turn number 8. And unfortunately I was talking about those mediums there, maybe they're overheated slightly, and Little One there, this time it's him that suffers the pressure, and that's a shame there for Little One. Very unfortunate for our championship leader, not something you'd see from our championship leader. And now he heads off into the pit lane. It's a massive shame there for Little One. George Hargreaves then has it all in his hands. Remember, the last few races had bad luck, but this time he got it all in his hands. Nothing could go wrong for him now, unless he goes for him spin himself. Just going to keep it nice and clean. He managed to sustain the pressure from Little One, and now he's got nobody around him. So theoretically he should pull away from those guys and just remain calm at the front. It promotes KXI, Jay Hart and Nacho there for the battle for P2 now between those boys, P2 downwards. And the reason why it's called Cone Racing League, because 3-4 years ago a group of mates went out for a drink and they put a cone over their heads, or I don't know, maybe they did something with a cone, I'm not quite sure, whatever they're up to, and basically they decided to call it Cone after the start of the league. I think this league existed about 3-4 years ago, and that's when those guys went drinking, and they decided to play with a cone, and then they thought, we'll decide to call it Cone Racing League, because why not? And ever since then that name is stuck for a while. And Veloci Ayo though in P10 has overtaken Fandango then, despite having DRS, or those guys ahead of him on DRS. And Jay Hartnell was able to stay in contention of KXI, as we see further ahead. Jockey for position for P5 there. Oh, he hit the back of him, did King Panda. And I'm surprised he hasn't got any damage, but Fandango in the McLaren has gone for a spin coming out of turn number 1. And that's such an easy place to drop it. You can drop it on the entry if you take too much curb, or on the entry as well if you take too much curb. So either way, you got to be very precise where you place that car at turn number 1 at the exit of 2. It's such a tricky corner as well, especially when you're in a high pressure situation where you're trying to get a good exit, and the back end just goes, if you take too much curb on the entry, just clatters the curb. And Dragon of Speed down there, P15 with Harry Palmer with fighting for P15. Harry Palmer is able to take advantage of him and move himself up 1 place higher, as Veloci Aob Jr. starts in last up into 10th. Went for a spin earlier on, made contact 2 on the first lap, but he's still surviving. He's up into P10 now, putting pressure on Craigo. It's been a lovely fight between he got off the track there, the final corner. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any warnings. It would have been a great fight between George, KXI, Little One and Veloci Aob Jr. for the race lead. That will get intense. But so far George is on his own. Third time lucky, hopefully, for George Hargreaves, because in the past few races he could have won the race back in Singapore. But here comes Veloci Aob down the inside as well. He gets DRS for good measure, so this will keep him ahead on this straight. And his next target is Ferguson for P8 then, so making moves is Veloci Aob Jr. And Little One there is right behind Dragon of Speed. He's currently fighting for P16 then, so here we are on board with the Alfa Romeo, with the other Alfa Romeo just ahead, being the DRS provider for Dragon of Speed. Little One there taking different lines, looking for a better exit than Dragon, and this time, but they both got DRS. Can Little One get him down into turn 4? Not on this occasion, but Dragon of Speed's more closer to Harry Palmer. But this time Harry Palmer's able to defend as the medium runner of Panda then is in the pit lane. So are we starting to see the medium start to come to an end? And King Panda then, let's see where he will drop down. Both Mercedes as well decided to split strategies, and Panda went for the mediums. Now he's on the hard compound tyres. Let's see where he will rejoin as Dat Roden picks up a 3-second tyre penalty, and Veloci Aob there puts in pressure to the Red Bull. He closed that gap quite dramatically as well. He's up into P7. The gap was 2 seconds between Veloci Aob Jr. and Ferguson. Oh, contact been made between Craigo and Ferguson. Craigo carrying a lot of speed in the corner, and Craigo knew he was at fault, so he backed off there to allow Ferguson to keep the position, which is good sportsmanship. Obviously Craigo didn't mean that, just outbroke himself, and unfortunately there just tapped the back of Ferguson. Luckily he didn't send him to a full spin. But now, will Jay Hartnell respond in the pit lane? Will he decide to pit this lap? No, he doesn't, so he stays out there for one more lap. We've got both Alfa Romeos squabbling for P16 there with Little One going side by side there. That is so close between Little One and Dragon of Speed. Thankfully he didn't hit the back of him. Little One there is able to move up into P16 ahead of Harry Palmer. Not the position he was hoping to fight for, but every champion makes mistakes, and maybe this is a one-off race for him, but he's putting major pressure on Dragon of Speed. This is the corner he spun at, so I wonder if the medium compound tyres were overheated, because there's a big battle there between himself and George Hargreaves. That's what happens when you go in the medium compound tyres early phase in this race. They just overheat due to the car standing around as well, heavy fuel, just the tyre pressures as well. Just so easy to overheat the medium compound tyres no matter what you do, and that's why a lot of drivers love taking them towards the end. And here comes Little One down the inside of Dragon, and Little One is ahead, but on board with Jay Hartnell, who's still able to stick with KXI despite being on older medium compound tyres. So his pace is still good despite being on those older mediums. So let's see what happens when he goes over to the hard compound tyres, as Little One then, his next target is Panda, who's quite far ahead and is on a brand new set of hard compound tyres too. Is Panda. They both went on the same strategy, mediums to hard, so with 3-lap older tyres it could be a bit difficult for Little One to close in on Panda. Panda is looking to fight with Mazzles, Nacho and Jay Hartnell. Jay Hartnell obviously starts on the same set of medium compound tyres, as Craigo's been overtaken as he's in the pit lane then to go on the hard compound tyres. So this is when the medium runners will pit. No safety cars that came out by the way too, so uninterrupted race here around the Austrian Grand Prix, as the Mercedes of George Hargreaves then looking for a win after 2 dismal races, and Veloci Aob is putting moves on Leon. He goes up into P6 there, but he does outbreak himself. I think Leon gets DRS as well. We know that Little One, and we know that Veloci Aob Jr. is D8 on the straight, so this might be Leon's chance to get him back, but he's too far behind on that occasion. Despite that mistake going a bit deep into turn number 3, he stays ahead for the time being. And that Rowland there gets ahead of Harry Palmer. Look at this battle for P15. 3 abreast into turn number 3. Who yields? And I think Harry Palmer has to yield there, not going 3 wide. As Drago Speed is fighting that Rowland then. And now look at the Aston Martin Craigo, who is up further ahead. He's on a brand new set of tyres, is Craigo. So I wonder why he went quite slow there. And Jay Hartnell's in the pit lane. That Rowland has to go off the road there. Good question, Random Human. What teams, drivers do you support in real life? I support Sebastian Vettel, and the team I support is the car you're looking at, the Scarlet Red car. And as you know, it's a lot of pain that we have to go through every single season. Been a Ferrari fan ever since I was little. But unfortunately not won a championship since 2008, where they took the Constructors' Championship, not the Drivers' Championship. And Jay Hartnell comes out in P9 then on a brand new set of the hard compound tyres. So despite staying out longer, he's able to stay ahead of King Panda. He maintained some good pace as well, because I remember King Panda was not too far away from that DRS train. So Jay Hartnell in that medium compound tyre phase was able to keep some decent pace in those mediums. Now he's got halfway to go on those hards, which he can do evidently from the top guys in front. So Jay Hartnell looking in a good position there. He just needs to push as hard as he can, Jay Hartnell, because he knows those medium runners will be those hard runners will be going to the mediums very shortly in this race too. So Jay Hartnell on this stint has to push as hard as he can to ensure he gets ahead of those hard runners. But despite being on those old mediums, was able to keep a good pace with Nacho and KXI. But what it has done is broke the DRS train now between Nacho and KXI, and Nacho is quite far behind as well, 2.5 seconds. He was in that DRS train fight as well, so I wonder what happened to him. I flicked on board with him a few moments ago at turn number 4. It looks like he got a bad exit going out of there, so not quite sure what happened to him. And Jay Hartnell then, he makes a move, up into P8 he goes. A McLaren fan, yeah. How long you been an F1 fan for, Random Human, out of curiosity? And Ferguson then up into P8 ahead of MKP, so not much of a fight there. Luckily for Jay Hartnell, he doesn't want to be fighting those older hard runners. He wants to push as hard as he can before those guys switch over to the mediums, and they'll hunt him down towards the second phase of this race. And they should be pitting when, about lap 24, 25? Oh, so you've only been a McLaren fan for a few years then, so... What, McLaren have encountered a few podiums with Lando Norris. They got that race win at the 2021 Monza Grand Prix, 1-2 between Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris. I've introduced my mates to F1 as well, and they've liked it. They know a few races can be a bit boring, but they like it too. F1's becoming more popular. At risk of making everyone realise I'm an old git, my first season was 1989, says Colin R. Mason. I wasn't even born then. I was born about 14 years later, as Jay Mason has overtaken Gord Lefana. Colin R. Mason, is your brother in this race, J.R. Mason, out of curiosity? He's coming down there in P17. He scored good points at the Singapore Grand Prix. He was up into P9 after avoiding all the chaos, as quite a few drivers did retire from that race. He's coming inside in P17. A quiet race for him. Oh, there's a McLaren. He's gone for a spin. Who is that? That is Fandango. Unfortunately, has gone for a spin. He's lost his wing too. Now, could that trigger a safety car which could change the whole phase of this race? No, it doesn't. So, those Harvarders in P7 there can breathe for the time being, because he doesn't want a safety car, because that'll bring the medium players back into contention, or gain a huge advantage by wiping out Ferguson. Jay Hartnell's lead. That's my 68 years old dad. Oh, sorry about that, Colin. But your dad's doing a good job down there in P17. I think he needs 2 more positions to get to P15, because that's where he scored points. So hopefully J.R. Mason. Oh, Nacho's retired! He's crashed coming out of turn number 4, and this has caused a safety car, so this changes everything in this race. And Nacho there bottled it coming out of turn number 4. Ah, that's a shame there for Nacho. He was running in the podium paying positions, and now a safety car comes out, makes an appearance on the track. And that's unfortunate for Jay Hartnell there. Maybe he can go on a brand new set of mediums, maybe he has 2 in his disposal to play with, I'm not quite sure. But what would Jay Hartnell do? Here down in P6. I think he should pit. He's got his teammate behind him too. He's definitely going to pit to get off those hard compound tyres. That's incredible. 68 years old and has got some good pace. So what's happened to Ross? Oh, he's left the session. He crashed out. Oh, he's actually crashed. What's happened to Ross? He's out of the session. As Jay Hart now has decided to stay out there then on the hard compound tyres, which helps his teammate because his teammate would have to double stack if Jay Hart now had to pit. But the problem is though, he's got medium runners surrounding him. This is the worst scenario there for Jay Hart now. The pendulum has swung towards the medium runner's way. Jay Hart now had some great pace in that Red Bull, but unfortunately it's been all wiped out due to the safety car then, so he's in a bit of bother there with the medium runners surrounding him. Craigo as well down in P7, who opted to take track position ahead of new tyres, which track position is key around here because you get stuck in that DRS train. So KXI then, what can you do in P2? Now the gap is closed between KXI and George Hargreaves. George Hargreaves, ever since Little One spun, who's currently down in P11 by the way, so can Little One blast his way through the field then, make a recovery drive? We're about to find out then, so plenty of things can happen in this race. Can George Hargreaves stay ahead of KXI? Can KXI challenge George Hargreaves for the lead of this race? Hello Waltsy, how you doing mate? Nice to see you in the stream. Nice to see everybody watching. Hopefully you're having a very good evening, had a good day and a good weekend too. So, two hard runners out there, Craigo and Jay Hart now, they might be in a bit of bother with the fresher mediums around them, which can reduce their stint too, with the safety car coming out. Plays into the hands of the medium runners of course. Worst possible scenario for a safety car to come out right now for the hard runners, which are only two hard runners. You don't really see people older than 25, 30 racing Discord racing leagues. Yeah, that is very true as well. Like, I agree with that. Even me, I'm 20 years old and I'm on the verge of like not racing anymore, just staying as a commentator because my race pace has gone down the drain after 2021 sorry, this is 2022 game. So I agree with that one, and to be racing at 68 years old is incredible. In the AlphaTauri is JR Mason 54. How long should I be racing there? I mean, like, in general, it can be at Leeds, it can be at the F1 games, Colin. Well, just for you, I'll continue league racing then, but my pace has dropped sufficiently as well, so hopefully I can regain that back. Here is Mays down in P18. Not had a good race, but hopefully he can gain those positions back, as Godzilla fell in as well down in P17. The only reason why I'm saying quitting because I've just lost pace, and knowing that you're at the top for like quite a while now, you're just nowhere. Well, it's not even nowhere, it's just I keep spinning, because that's why they call me Spindigo. I just keep spinning because I just can't get a feel for these cars in this game, so that's the reason why I want to quit, because I just tend to spin in every single race, just have no luck whatsoever. And that's why I remain as a commentator, because in the commentary box is the safest place for me not to spin. He was racing karts with me in 2000 and started league racing in 2019. That's the same year, well, 2018. The end of 2018 is when I started league racing, so that would have been a 2019 game. So yeah, your dad started league racing the same time as me as well. Incredible. The oldest person I know to league race is about 40 years old. He used to run a league. I think Craigo knows who I'm talking about. I think he's 40 anyway, but Craigo definitely knows who I'm talking about. Maybe he's 40 this year. I'm not quite sure. Safety car is in this lap then, so about to see some more racing action with majority in the field and a brand new set of the medium compound tyres. Jay Hartnell, unfortunately, his strategy has been ruined and now we'll have to suffer on those hards. Let's see if he can keep those guys behind. Obviously Mazzles don't want to be waiting around too long. He wants to go for his second consecutive podium after he claimed one in Singapore last time out. We were Veloci Ayob as well, catapulted to P5. He might be able to win this race, you know. So George Hargreaves might be in a bit of bother now. Veloci Ayob Jr. has showed up on the scene, but George has completely controlled this race after lap 11 where Little One spun. I think it was lap 11 anyway. But we're about to switch up the tempo, and we're about to go fast once again then, as George Hargreaves will lead them away, and he will not go until he has to. There he goes then, as he pulls the trigger, and he caught a few drivers napping as well. We can see a few drivers going side by side on the straight, jockey position as we head up into turn number 1 then. Let's see if Eddie moves. It's so tight. That's Little One. He made contact there with the Alpino Leo, but further up we can see Mazzles going side by side. Look at the background there. The second half of the field going side by side. We've got Mazzles up the inside of Jay Hartnell. Can't quite make it, but let's see what happens. Ferguson around the outside. What a good move there from Ferguson up into P7. He goes ahead of Leon. We've got Dat Rowland now fighting with Leon. And let's see then if he can make those positions up. He gained a loss at the start of the race, not able to make a move up the inside is Dan Rowland. Further behind we've got the Aston Martin on the inside, which is Fandango and Craig are going side by side then. And let's see who makes it out top of this one. They both had spins early in this race, hoping to make a comeback drive. Craig on the hard compound tyres, losing positions. Craig it stays in P13, but they're going side by side now, these two on the same set of tyres. And Dan Rowland there just as the edge on Leon there, moves himself up into P8, but Veloci Ayob then has picked up a 3-second time penalty, and that not doing dividends later on in the race as well. So looking for a comeback drive is Veloci Ayob Jr. Now he's got a lot of work to do with that penalty over his name. Mazzles there looking to take on Jay Hartnell, who survived by the way. What a good restart. We had Mazzles up the inside, but Jay Hartnell had a good exit. He's got 10 more laps of surviving left to do, if he could do so. This reminds me of Singapore last time out. We were in Tier 1 where Javu Vizza held off Walter and Co behind on the medium compound tyres, but we've got a spinner, and that is Craig unfortunately in P15. Has he lost any oh, what's happened to the AlphaTauri? That is Jay Mason unfortunately spun coming out of turn number 3. Further up we've got lots of battles going on with Leon and MKP, who stays in P9 for the time being then. Lots of position changes here in the midfield. They're almost side by side at one point, the whole midfield there. At the safety car restart, Veloci Ayob is putting intense pressure on Mazzles ahead, who's looking to take on Jay Hartnell with the fresher set of the medium compound tyres. But you expect Mazzles to close in on Jay Hartnell, not well, falling into clutches of Veloci Ayob Jr. So hopefully he can pick up the pace as quickly as he wants to, because the podium's on the cards there for Mazzles. Bearing in mind though, Veloci Ayob Jr. has got a 3-second time penalty. But the battle of P3 is on. KXI is not able to keep up with the pace with George Hargreaves then, so he remains unchallenged for the time being as DRS is enabled, as we've got Gold to the on up the inside. But we've got a big battle going on further ahead now. Let's see what happens then. Into turn number 3 we go. Dan Rowland moves himself up into P7 ahead of Ferguson. And that was a lovely camera shot as well. Helicopter cam. That was a very good shot, as Dragon of Speed now is going side by side with Fandango, and Fandango then unfortunately lost out of that battle as Dragon of Speed is up into P13. I know Waltzy for quite a while now. I think we haven't talked much, me and Waltzy, but he's been thereabouts in the Community League. Every time we have spoke, well, I think it's been good conversations anyway. But Little One's got off the track, he's got on the gravel, that's where he spun early in this race. And once again then the car looks like he's understeered off the track, and now he's under pressure from Dat Rowland, so he's lost the DRS train towards Veloci Ayob Jr. Oh, we are in the same esports team. My apologies, Waltzy. I don't check the Discord enough. That's not on you, that's on me. So you're in IoT 2 then, Waltzy? Oh yeah, of course you are. Yeah, my apologies about that one. Sometimes I don't even know what team I'm in. But anyways, further up the field then we've got a big DRS train right behind Jay Hartnell. But look at Jay Hartnell, by the way, pace is very good. KXI ahead of him on the medium compound tyres is able to stick in contention with the DRS of KXI then. So if Jay Hartnell could do this, if he can get DRS of KXI, that'll be a headache for the guys behind, because the guys behind will have the same speed down the straights as Jay Hartnell then, which means no advantage towards them. And if Jay Hartnell can do this, have the DRS of KXI. Bear in mind though, he's quite low on ERS. Maybe use that ERS to close in, and that's why he's within a second now. As you can see, Veloci Jr. in the background went very wide coming out of turn number 8. I'll come do comms with you sometime. Yeah, I want that, Volsey. Maybe you could help me next Monday at tier 3. Or this is tier 3. But anyways, you can see now Mazel's under big pressure from Veloci Jr. He was right behind him at one point as we make our way down into turn number 1. And this has benefited Jay Hart. I remember he had good pace on the old mediums against the better hards, as Leon and MKP are still fighting, but further ahead I want to see Veloci Jr. go down the inside of Mazel's into turn number 3. We go late to the brakes, but keeps it on the track and doesn't hit the back of the Red Bull as well. And now Jay Hart now might be in a bit of bother there with the Ferrari right behind, because he's very quick. Here's Veloci Jr. currently P3 in the championship. He would like to remain there after missing one race under huge pressure from the guys behind. King Bandit is under pressure there from MKP. He uses all the track and he almost good job he didn't hit the back of him there, because he outbroke himself there last time. But Veloci Jr. then with those medium compound tyres is starting to put pressure on Jay Hart now. This has been a stunning effort from Jay Hart now. Nothing is not his fault obviously what happened, but it's just the unlucky timing of the safety car which definitely compromised him. Didn't want to pit of course, because obviously once the track position he had at the start of the race up into P3 he was. But it's been a good race from Jay Hart now, because I know in the last few races where he's had his struggles and now he's back up there with P3, it's like his results fluctuate from up and down, don't they? Like from one race he's down outside the top 10, the second race he's up in there top 5. It's like it fluctuates every single race. And here comes Veloci Jr. They go side by side, and now he overtakes Jay Hart now for P3. But Jay Hart now still got a chance of a podium here, because Veloci Jr. has got a 3-second time penalty then, so it's not over yet there for... Look at that, it's going to go down the inside into turn before they make slight contact there. And he gets ahead just, but he almost lost traction, and he made contact with KXI, and here comes Mazel's then. Oh, Jay Hart was back up into P2 there, and Veloci Jr. did lose the car, and I think KXI has sustained end plate damage. And Mazel's moves himself back up into P4 there. Major drama going on there. What's happened to Veloci Jr.? He's slowing down. And here comes Mazel's up the inside. They're not placed you want to fight, especially here. And you can see KXI understeering off the track there with the lack of downforce. That is such a tight pit lane entry. And I luckily didn't make contact with anybody there, because with that pit lane entry it could cause a lot of drama in a fast speed corner like that one, where it feeds into the pit lane on the track. But there's a lot of carnage going on there, and unfortunately the consequences were quite catastrophic for KXI. Oh, KXI, what a fabulous race he was running inside the top 3 most of the race, and now due to that mistake there for Veloci a bit happy on the throttle, lost the car, and Craig was retired. Will that cause a safety car, I wonder? And it does. That is another safety car which does appear on the circuit. And this is a second safety car now. The tempo is slowed once again, and it's a full-blown safety car, because you can see the yellow car coming out the pit lane. Wow, what a twist in this race then. So let's see if anybody... No one's gonna make a pit stop. It's lap 31 out of 36. I got lost where we were on this within the laps. I do feel sorry for KXI there. But George Hargreaves has pitted. Now, is that... Oh, I dare say that's the race-ending move right there for George Hargreaves. This is not the right call, I'm sorry to say, George. He probably just thrown himself away in race victory. Yeah, that is... Oh, no, George, what have you done? Why have you done that for? Another bad strategy call there from George Hargreaves, who was looking to go for his third win of the... Well, his first win in 3 races. On his third attempt, I must say. What has he done? So USA, he had a chance to win in. He got a drive-through penalty in a safety car. Bahrain, unfortunately someone made contact with him and he dropped out, so he actually retired from the race after making contact with another driver. And Singapore Grand Prix, he got a bit impatient, picked up a 3-second time penalty and retired himself. For the 4th time of asking, George Hargreaves has thrown away another potential win. All those points thrown away due to bad strategy calls, little mistakes where it shouldn't happen. Oh, George, what? Come on, man. Who told you to pit? Was it Jeff? If I was you, Jordan, I wouldn't trust Jeff. There's no way he's able to take first place away now, especially with a lot of cars in front of him. Not even a podium, I dare say. Well, he's just thrown this race in the drain, and Jay Hartnell is the man to favour to win this race, because look at that, he's up into P1 despite, I thought, making the wrong strategy call. He's up there in P1 and has a chance of winning because Veloci Ayob Jr. is in P2 with a 3-second time penalty, and we've got Mazzles there in P3 on the Haas on the medium compound tyre, who's not able to close in on Jay Hartnell, kept him behind for quite a while now. So we're about to find out who is going to be the race winner. Look at Little One, who was down in P18 at one point, up to P5 as well. So another comeback drive from him. And Veloci Ayob Jr. Who is your driver today? Not Jeff, definitely not George Hargreaves now. But let's see, can Little One might be able to get back on the podium despite spinning out, because the two guys ahead of him have a 3-second time penalty. So he might be able to get through P3 here. But I can't believe that from George Hargreaves there. His 4th attempt to trying to win a race. He dominated most of this race ever since Little One spun. I just can't believe it. Has he got any forward strategies in his garage? Because that could be the problem. Oh well, there's always next race, but safety car is in this lap with 3 laps left to go in this race. Who is going to be the race winner? Will it be Mazzles, Veloci Ayob Jr., which is unlikely with a 3-second time penalty? Will it be Jay Hartnell? It would have been an outstanding drive from Jay Hartnell in P1 there. Kept up with the medium runners. Well, kept up with the hard runners despite being on all mediums. And now he's on the hard runners, defending against the medium runners behind him. Medium runners has experienced the 2 safety cars, so their tyres shouldn't be too old. But Jay Hartnell has a lot of work to do now. Hopefully the pressure doesn't get to him, and we can get racing once again. And for the second time in this race, we're about to switch up the tempo, and we can get racing once again. That's a good safety car restart there from Jay Hartnell. He takes the lead, 34 out of 36. 3 laps to go in this race to survive. And let's see then, going down into turn number 1. Anybody able to make a move? Dragon Speed is up into P8. He goes ahead of Panda, but Mazzle's there, right in the back. Oh, go to the fellow who's crashed out at turn number 1. Unfortunately, no safety cars because we've reached the limit. Well, we've reached that lap where we can't have any more safety cars. But down the inside goes Little One, side by side now, coming out of turn number 3. Now they're going to have a straight drag race with no help of DRS. It's all down to straight line speed. Going down into turn number 4 we go. Panda spun out, he's in last place. And down the inside goes Little One once again. And we can see that road has the outside line, but they're still continuing to go wheel to wheel as we make our way now into turn number 6. That road is not giving up, he's still on the inside there, which is the racing line. Little One trying to stick around the outside, but can't quite do so on that occasion there. And Little One has to stay behind that Roland, who puts up a mighty defence, he must say. And Little One got out of shape coming out of turn number 8 there. Now he's lost a little bit of time now towards that Roland, who is left in the clutches of Ferguson right behind him in P6. It's been a very strong race from both Red Bulls, and hopefully they keep it up. This is a desperate result that Jay Hartnell needs to boost his spirits once again after a few unlucky races, it must be said. But he's up here to P1, and this is a fantastic drive from Jay Hartnell. I'm very proud of him, of his performance here tonight, especially against on the hard compound tyres. We've got George Hargreaves up into P9. Harry Palmer has crashed out of this race. I wonder what George Hargreaves will be thinking here. Did he expect everybody to pit behind him? That's what I was thinking. But look at this, the battle for P3 is on between Dat Roland, Mazzles and Little One as well. So make our way now into turn number 4 we go. And we can see Little One going side by side now with Dat Roland. Mazzles going a bit wide there. This is ever so tight between the 3. Are they about to go 3 abreast? The Little One has no room, but he has the inside line against Dat Roland there. Dat Roland has the outside line, Trick's trying to stick it around the outside. Into P4 he stays. Look at Ferguson almost hitting the back there. Little One is ever so close. And here we go then, Dat Roland versus Mazzles there for the podium pay positions. Not able to take him on. And he remains in P3 there, but he knows he might have DRS. DRS might be activated on the last lap then, so it could come down to... yeah, it is. So it could come down to the DRS battle there. And I don't think Mazzles has anything left in his disposal. Oh, Veloci Ayob there, cutting corner for days is the Ferrari driver. But I don't think Jay Hartnell should fight too much. He can't risk any penalties because he knows Veloci Ayob Jr. has penalties. So if he does overtake him, he shouldn't put up too much of a fight because he don't want to risk getting penalties himself. So And he gets a good exit cut outside of before then, so he doesn't get challenged by Velocio Jr. What a fantastic drive it's been there for Velocio Jr. Might get podium, by the way, because his gap is 2.7 seconds now, as Dat Roller is trying to overtake him, but can't quite do so. Muzzles, however, 2.9 seconds behind then, so it looks like Velocio Jr. might claim a podium. George Hargreaves up into P7, dragging up speed, but look at Dat Roller then. He was so close behind, the gap was about a few hundreds between them. Now it's back up the order that George Hargreaves up into P7 ahead of Leon, and dragging on speed too, with fighting for P8. Here we go then, in the last sector we go. And we're going to go back on board. Oh, he's run out of fuel. But here comes Jay Hartnell then, as he makes his way towards the line. He wins the Austrian Grand Prix. What a fantastic drive from the Red Bull driver. Velocio Jr. gets swallowed up there after running out of fuel. Mazzles in P2, Little One in P3, George Hargreaves into P4 then. So that's quite funny and ironic because he finishes behind Little One. And that road in the P5 ahead of Dragler Speed. We've got a good recovery drive for Dragler Speed there, ahead of Leon, Ferguson, MKP, and Velocio Jr. then. Almost got a podium but ran out of fuel in the end. I thought with the two safety cars, he must have really underfueled his car there because he ran out of fuel on the last lap with two safety cars. Wow, what a race. Jay Hartnell came out as the victor in the end. I thought it could be a battle between Little One and George Hargreaves. I meant that at the start of the race, by the way, when they pulled away from KXI. Oh, KXI, what an unlucky race for him. Hopefully he could come back stronger. But Mausels once again claims the podium. And this has been another fantastic race here in Cone Racing League at the Austrian Grand Prix. Never fails to disappoint. And Jay Hartnell comes out on top. What a fantastic drive from him. He was on the hard compound tyres defending against the mediums, and he did a mighty job keeping those guys behind as well. His pace was good on the hard compound, medium compound tyres anyway. But I thought he'd been a bit of bother there once the safety car came out and he was surrounded by new medium runners. But it was just a fantastic drive. I'm very happy for him. Mazzles from P13 to P2 as well, so what a great drive from him. Little One, he actually finished where he started in P3 despite spinning out early on as well. George Hargreaves, he just thrown away a potential win. All down to strategy. Dat Rowling finishes in P5, finishes where he started too. Dragon Speed in P6 with Leon in P7. Ferguson from P19 to P8. MKP also in the top 10. JR Mason 54. He went for a spin cut out of turn 3, didn't he, a few laps ago? It's up into P10, so second consecutive week, JR Mason actually finishes in the points, so good drive from him. He should be very happy with himself about that one. P9, P10 as well, so good points on the board there. We didn't talk about Mays much, I'm very sorry about that one, but he finishes in P11. Just outside the top 10 there, but still scores some points with Velocio Jr. P12, Fandango P13, Panda P14, Harry Palmer, and there's your DNS then, with Ross the first man to retire, with Nacho causing the first safety car too. So it's been a chaotic, interesting race to say the least. But for the 5th time I'm asking in the next race, can George Hargreaves finally win? He actually needs to get a podium first. I think he has, but I'm not quite sure. But bad strategy calls, impatient decisions, and little mistakes as well on the safety cars. I just needs to get it all together to try and actually. He's got the pace evidently, but strategy calls and inconsistency as well. Well, I say inconsistency. I meant to say like when he's in a fight between all the drivers, he just seems to lose his head a little bit, especially in Singapore. But his fight with Little One was very good today. Enjoyed that between the two. But Little One, good recovery drive despite spinning. He was down in P18 at one point, so he's moved himself back into P3. Still finishes ahead of George Hargreaves as well. But George should have won the race, but he pitted, which is entirely down to him. So his mistake, driver error. Was he expecting everybody behind to put on a brand new set of softs? I wonder what he was thinking. But in the end, it all fell into the hands of Jay Hartnell, who took the race victory, rightly so. Fantastic drive from him, definitely my drive of the day as well. congrats to Mazel's in P2, a second podium in a row for him, so he'll be over the moon with that, especially closing down the championship gap between himself and Velocio Jr. So where is he? He's actually ahead of Velocio Jr. in the championship standings, so he'll extend his championship once more, and he'll take a few points away from Little One's advantage, but not too much. And Jay Hartnell will have a big boost as well in the championship standings. Well, I must say, everybody, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you for keeping me company in the commentary box. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed this race and your guys' company as well, which means a lot to me. Thank you so much for joining in. Make sure you tune in for Thursday with me and Stevan at the Austrian Grand Prix for Tier 1. That should be an interesting race as well. Last time out, it was Jeroen Visser who won in Tier 1 after Ita Kush sustained a penalty after making contact with Jeroen there. But let's see who comes out on top at the Red Bull Ring here in Austria. Join me at 8:30 once again. But next race, where is the next race in fact? Let's have a look, shall we? I always forget what race it is next, despite looking before the race even starts. Let's have a look. If my Discord decides to load, of course, because it never does. George Hargreaves is messaging me, saying he's not that sad. Nah, I'm kidding, George. So the next race is at Mexico City. And let's see then who comes out on top of that one. But we haven't finished in Austria just yet because we've still got Tier 1 to do on Thursday then. So join me back for then. And for me, over and out. See you all later. Enjoy the Baku Grand Prix on Saturday or Sunday.